Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. If you've got a pool, you already know the deal. Keeping it clean is literally a never-ending battle. So today, we're getting hands-on with a really popular solution, the Aiper Smart Robotic Pool Cleaner. We're going to break down a real-world review of its setup, its performance, and of course, the final results. Okay, let's dive into this. The big question we're answering today is whether a budget-friendly robotic cleaner can actually stand toe-to-toe with those massive, super expensive models on the market. Tested in a pretty standard-sized pool, we're going to see if this affordable piece of tech truly solves a major home maintenance hassle. Or, if it's just a little too good to be true. Let's find out. All right, every good test starts right at the beginning. Phase 1, the out-of-the-box setup. So crack open the box, and honestly, things are refreshingly straightforward. You've got the main power supply unit, the cleaner cord, and the robot itself, which features this dual filter system secured by really simple top-loading locks. I gotta say, the reviewer was incredibly relieved to open this up and not find, loads of little bits and pieces to assemble. You essentially just plug it in and let it get to work. Getting it launched is basically just 3 steps. But listen up, because step 1 is an absolutely crucial tip. Before you just drop the robot flat into the water, actually, scratch that. Never drop it in flat. You must tilt the machine sideways first to let all the trapped air bubble out. If you skip this, it just won't sink to the bottom properly and, well, it can't do its job. Once the air is out and it sinks, head over to your main supply unit and simply press the cycle button to choose a 1, 2, or 3-hour cleaning cycle. It really is that simple. Let's move to phase 2, the 3-hour test, and see how this builds as we set the machine to its absolute maximum cycle to really tackle whatever had settled at the bottom of the pool. Right out of the gate, the reviewer points out a massive standout feature. This robot actually scales the walls to scrub the waterline. If you maintain a pool, you know all about that stubborn, gross, scummy ring that builds up right at the surface level. Having a unit specifically programmed to tackle that exact nuisance, that is a huge check in the pro column, for sure. And this brilliantly illustrates the reality of the robot's capabilities after those 3 hours were up. It beautifully cleaned the flat floor surfaces and scrubbed away that scummy waterline just like we hoped. However, it did miss a few things, mostly leaves floating on the water's surface and some of those really tight lines right deep in the corners. But honestly, since it's a floor-crawling robot, skimming surface leaves is completely outside its intended purpose anyway. For what it's actually meant to do, it did a really solid job. Okay, the cycle is done. Now for phase 3, the filter reveal. This is where we pull this deceptively heavy water-filled machine up by the handle, let it drain on the edge, and see what the vacuum actually trapped inside. The reviewer's genuine surprise honestly says it all here. Oh wow, okay. A lot more stuff in there than I thought it was going to be. Even though the pool might not have looked like a total disaster zone before we started, pulling those dual filters out proved exactly how much hidden grime was lurking down at the bottom. Let's get specific about what it actually pulled up, shall we? We're talking fine sediment, big sunken leaves, and, yeah, dead worms. Okay, it's a little gross for sure, but it makes the machine's effectiveness incredibly vivid. It is actively scraping up that fine dirt and heavy, waterlogged organic matter that you absolutely do not want to be swimming in. Of course, once you've trapped all that mess, you have to get rid of it. The cleanup process is thankfully pretty painless. First, remove the 2 filters, but pay strict attention to exactly how they are oriented when you pull them out. Second, grab a standard garden hose and just rinse the debris off from the outside in. Finally, slide them back in the exact same way they came out, lock the lids down, and boom, you are ready for the next clean. All right, that brings us to phase 4, the final verdict. Time to weigh the results and figure out if this machine truly delivers on its promise. So the crucial point is really one of value. The reviewer, who explicitly noted they've worked with some seriously expensive, premium pole robots in the past, was genuinely impressed. When you measure this high level of performance, the spotless flat surfaces, the scrubbed waterline, the filters just packed with sediment, against that budget price tag, it makes automated pool cleaning highly accessible for the average pool owner, rather than it just being some unattainable luxury item. But, we do have to end on a thoughtful note. It's affordable and effective today, absolutely. But how will those internal mechanics hold up over time? When you pay top dollar for a premium robot, you are very often paying for long-term durability. So will this budget-friendly Aiper cleaner still be pulling up dead worms and scrubbing that waterline 3, 4, or 5 years from now? That remains to be seen. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those great questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.